Welcome to Seymour from the Front Pew podcast, coming to you from the broadcast studio at Seymour First Baptist Church in Seymour, Tennessee, and featuring thoughts and discussions around loving God, loving others, making disciples, and living the life. I am your host, Tiger Brooks, and now, on to the podcast. Well, we have gathered here today after a Labor Day hiatus. Today is what brings us together today.
Hey, listen!
I can't tell you the number of times at rehearsals that I have done that, and it always
hits the mark.
Goes over.
Never fails.
Always goes over.
Did you do it for Ellie?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know these.
She might would have been disappointed if you hadn't.
These couples coming up now. I'm not sure they've.
Yeah, we're about to get
we're
past our.
yeah. I'm not sure they've watched it.
Surely
mean
they
we can't do it.
have. My kids have seen it multiple times.
Yeah, my kids have seen it.
Okay, Shelby's shaking her head. Yes, she understands the.
I don't know if the
reference.
boys have seen it.
What? You're failing as a parent.
I never loved it. I mean, like, it's funny, but I never loved it.
Gosh.
So, anyway.
The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
All right, so unique to this podcast that you're listening to right now, count yourself as blessed. This is the first time this has ever happened because I have a topic that they know not of, okay?
No.
And so I
reserve the right to walk out.
I am going to, am I too loud?
Yeah.
Am I too loud in your head? Yeah. Is that too much, Tiger?
It's almost as bad as in my dreams.
All right, so I have a topic that I'm going to throw out for us to discuss over the next few minutes, and we are on a little bit of a time limit, so we have to watch the old clock. But so here's what I want to discuss around this moment. So
The future of Florida State football.
no,
Yes, it is bright.
that may be the second one that we get to. I want to discuss hiring practices for the church from a standpoint of, competency versus culture and how both of those work into it. So for full disclosure, obviously we are in the process of making a staff hire. And so this is hot on it's a hot topic, so to speak, because we've been thinking a lot about this, even though they didn't know we were about to discuss this. But I think it's good not only for our church to hear how we think through this, but, assuming that there may be other church leaders who ever would get a hold of this podcast, it's also something I think that is important for us to be transparent about and to share, because I think, rising tides raise all ships, so to speak. There's good stuff that you can glean from other people and how they practice. And so, how I'm going to what?
It was a really weird noise within your chair.
Whatever you moved in your chair. It was something.
Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle.
We try to have a highbrow show.
Chair.
I have never claimed to be a part of a highbrow show.
Highbrow anything.
Everybody knows better than that.
That's just when I have Botox.
At any rate. Oh my
Jason
goodness.
just about spit water all over Austin.
Just keep it away from the board, please.
Yes.
Go
I
that
feel
way.
really confined today.
Speaking
Anyway,
of culture,
all right.
So, let's just from a general sense, obviously, we're not going to get into particulars about individuals and things like that, but what are we looking for in terms of a hire? We can use what we are hiring for as a jumping off point, but
Let's think about minister, pastor stuff mainly. How about that? Like, because I mean, I hate to say, like,
Depends.
Yeah, we have a bigger staff than what most people realize, because we have an MVP staff that has 5 employees, and so. But let's mainly think about ministers, pastors,
not administrative assistants, things like that.
Yeah. So I'd say one of the things is just even before we get into what we're looking for is how we approach it, because with a church our size and growing, what I have seen or what I'm hearing, our process is I don't want to say dated, but there's a lot of people getting away from what we do, and I like it. Like I like how we are approaching stuff. So
define that.
Yeah. So mainly is that we still use a search committee or search team as we go through these processes. And now we are highly involved. We've never had a search team here that has worked apart from me being a part of it. I would say we've never really had one that's worked apart from Jason being a part of it. And so over time, what I have found is that when we are prayerful about how we put that team together and then go about the process, is that really helps to sharpen the whole process. It helps to share in responsibility. It helps to be more aware of what could be issues or what should be right, and all of those types of things. And for me, it's something that I really have tried to learn to lean into. It slows things down. It complicates stuff from time to time. Sometimes you wonder if you're going to get to where you think you ought to go. I can think of at least one of y'all's searches where I thought even a month before, I'm like, man, is this going to happen or not? Like it feels like we ought to be going this direction, but there's this weird something holding it up. Like that, it's like, are we going to get past that? Or are we going to get over that? But my experience is there's a lot of it's worth that. It's worth those processes. It's worth all of that.
The pains, you might say, of going through the process and having to entertain all of those different points of view, and as that wrestles with your expectations and the things that you've defined as this need.
Yeah, and it makes you ask and answer why questions, and to me, those are things that we always I think that's a part of our culture, is that you may get asked that, and you shouldn't be afraid of that. Like you need to be able to have an answer for that.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the big things to me that stands out with even our current search. There's a lot of places that I know right now that would not have done a search for this position. The four of us, I hate to say it, but and our bylaws would allow for that. With our personnel committee's approval, our bylaws would allow for us to just kind of come up with who we want to recommend and go that direction. And I think that that the process it is good. It sharpens. It helps. It includes more people. It helps people to see, understand what we're looking for and why we're looking for it, and why it's necessary and what it's going to do, and just all those types of things. And I think that that's a good thing.
Yeah. So you have a development of a need, right? There's an observation that we have a position that needs to be filled. There's a void that we feel that needs to be hired to, which is in and of itself kind of a ecclesiological thing, because whereas lots of churches will just hire, some churches want to meet that need with volunteers within the body. So that therein lies a little bit of a wrestling of seeking what God would have you to do in that particular situation. So you come to the decision, I need to make a hire. The team is assembled, and then a job description is developed. And so you've defined the job, and you have expressed this is what this job is going to entail. And then you define what the expectations are for that position, right?
Right.
And you try to hire that. And so therein lies the dichotomy of the competencies, the education, the experience, everything that you bring to the table, versus what I'm going to describe, just because it's alliterated, chemistry. The culture,
chemistry,
is all of that. It's chemistry, it's fit. We talk a lot about that. That's come up a lot in the process. Let's talk about that a little bit. Competencies versus
Yeah. So,
What's the greatest?
to me, fit is much greater than competency. Most of the time, we can teach somebody what we need them to know. I don't mean that to be just offhanded, but I think back to our student ministry search. We kind of narrowed down and had something, and just as we did that, we loved a candidate, loved it, but it just was not going to be the right fit. It wasn't going to. There was not the trust or the full feel with this is going to be it.
Yeah, he didn't have a piece about it.
Yeah, didn't have a piece about it, and I wouldn't even say that was culture. Even it just I don't know. Anyway, but that it stopped us basically in our tracks. With your search, we got down to a single person.
Yep.
2 times before we reopened the process where your resume finally came in, and that was culture. It was some belief-based culture, and we kind of dove in there and just never got settled or whatever else. And all of them, I don't think we've ever even Zoomed with a person that we didn't think was competent enough to do the job. And usually you have 10, 20 resumes that are competent to do the job. But even with this one, with missions right now, the culture of how we go about missions is set. It's determined. With discipleship, we already had a picture of what D groups look like, and someone that had their own picture of what discipleship was going to look like that would have rubbed with that or been friction with that was not going to work very well. We have a picture of what partnership missions looks like in our church, and I think we're happy with that. I mean, we're not saying it can't get better.
Yeah.
We're not saying it can't take some tweaks, or that someone that comes in may not bring some new ideas and those types of things, but we're pretty happy with the way that looks like. I don't want someone to come in and immediately think that they need to reevaluate all of our partnerships, that they may need to change or alter or whatever else. They need to be able to come in and kind of take that on and run with that. And so there's those cultures that are fit. There's a lot of ways to go about either discipleship or worship or missions or student ministry that are not wrong, but they aren't the fit here. And so it is aligning that, trying to figure out who can work within that, who has a passion in the same way of those things, who's passionate about partnership missions, who's passionate about D groups. I mean, I think back to Tigers with discipleship. We ran into this culture belief friction in the search, and we reopened the process. And Tigers is the last resume to come in on Saturday night before it closes on Sunday. And Tigers' doctorate was done in something. What did you call them? You called them something different.
Yeah, developing small group strategy.
I'm trying to remember. You had a name for them because you have a name for everything.
Pods.
He called them pods, where we call them D groups. But
have a name for everything.
Yeah. So anyway, but the core of what he had done his doctoral work on these pods was the same as our D groups. It was scripture-based small groups with accountability, gender-based. I mean, it just is yes, there's he values what we value in this.
Right.
And so we can see how these things align and how that's going to be, it's going to make both of these things, it's going to make all of it better. And so that's one of the things that we are looking for in all of that. I think one of the other neat things with all of that is that our people have seen and now value the culture within our staff, and so they are protective of it. Our search teams, man, they're looking for that.
Yeah.
They're like, is this going to work? Is that going to be okay? It's this guy from North Carolina State. I mean, he's a North Carolina State fan. Is that going to work?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
I think it's important to point out too that when we talk about that, we're not talking about, and I think most people understand this, but I think it's important to say it, that it doesn't mean that we're looking for people just like us.
No.
It doesn't mean that we're looking for people that are just going to do it the way we want to do it, because we do look for that, and we do encourage, even in the process, that, we want you to bring your personality. We want you to bring that into the table. I mean, the four of us even.
We're fine with Austin checking his from time to time. But.
Yeah, you can only have one of those.
Yeah, very true.
Sorry, you've been quiet, so I had to find a way to bring you in a little bit.
But I think that's the factor is that the four of us, like, we are similar, but we are very different, and that sharpens each other and encourages us, to be better across the board. And so, when we're looking at that aspect of culture, like, there's a fit that, like, some people just are not going to, whether it be from pace of work or whether it be from personalities and however that else fits, it's just you think about it from that perspective. Yeah. But it's not someone who, they fit us, they are just like us, or they're not like us, so we don't. It's not that at all. It's more complex.
Yeah. Well, I'll go back to a staffing situation I was in at one point in time, and the fit was wrong, and it was forcing me to have to act differently than what is natural to me. In my interactions with people inside the church, I was having to be something that I am not normally, and I won't dive into detail on all of that, but it put me in weird, awkward spots, and it made it difficult for me to just do the way I normally would just do, if that makes any sense. Because, and so we try to avoid that. We're trying to avoid those things. We want to. Everybody is different, I would even say, again, just giving examples and how things have worked. When we were talking to Sean, and again, we'd gone through the process, we'd gotten down to two different individuals that might be it. It wasn't it. We reopened the process. Sean ends up applying. Our biggest worry is he so much like Jason that this isn't going to work? Because he was Jason's first intern. Basically, he learned what he has learned about student ministry under Jason, and we love that. But we also wanted someone that would bring some fresh ideas and some new ways and some of those types of things. And so that was one of the concerns of the committee, of the search team. And as we worked through all of that, that got alleviated, and we landed in the right spot. And it's been a wonderful fit. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a author, speaker, his name's Simon Sinek, and he did a lot of leadership. He's written a few books about it, and he speaks about it. And one of the things that I'm going to attribute to him, because I think he's the one that I heard say it, he said that culture eats strategy for breakfast.
That's good. Yeah.
And the thing about that is, I think it speaks to what we're talking about. You can bring in somebody that's eminently qualified and competent, has great education, very learned, theologically sound, all the things that you may be looking for, and on paper would be, well, this is a no-brainer, this is it. But when you don't have that, whatever that is, that quality where you can mesh and bring to the table the extra stuff that everybody's looking for, the differences that we have, but also enough similarities to where there is a camaraderie,
enjoyment.
There's an enjoyment about it, and I think we've said it so many times, and we've said it, not only on this podcast a couple of different times, but in our private lives and talking with people, we talk about what God has put together here a lot. And when we talk about our culture and the way that we get along, it sounds very self-serving and self-centered, but I give God the glory for that because nobody could have seen, we couldn't have orchestrated this in and of ourselves.
No.
And so I appreciate the fact that what you just said, when we get into those rooms with those teams now, they are so hyper focused on, we can't mess up what God's doing right now. We don't even have to speak into that situation.
Yeah.
Right.
And they trust us enough to come along and go, okay, we feel like this is going to be the right kind of fit. And that's an amazing thing that has happened here. And I want kind of you guys, Austin's not said a thing on this. Bring your perspectives about.
How often does that happen? He's been quiet
I know.
for 20 minutes.
What have you experienced elsewhere that's not a part of this culture? What is it that help people understand how good God has been to us,
I
because
don't think we have that kind of time.
because this is not something that is universally experienced.
I'm not saying much because this is the first process that I've really been a part of. Never in a church that I've served before now have they asked the worship pastor to be a part of the process of hiring another staff member. And I didn't sit on yours because I was too busy. And it was just, all the meetings
Probably
were
for the
always
best.
probably because
For the best.
so I think at the root, culture and identity are two similar things, but not the same thing. And so you do want, I think part of the issue comes to so many churches are struggling with what their identity is. So you want someone who fits in with the identity of the church. And my experience has been that many, many churches don't even know what their own identity is.
Yep.
Right.
Whether that is the members versus the staff,
Mm-hmm.
or the staff just each having their own identity, but not a cohesive identity, and they don't understand
Being siloed.
being siloed.
Yeah.
That has been my experience, both personally and then with a lot of the guys that I talk to. A lot of churches have, I think I can say this safely, ministers and pastors who feel called to minister and are there for their ministry, not for the ministry together,
Sure.
not for the larger picture.
Mhm.
And a lot of it is because of wounds and stuff like that and scars that just happen. And so what you say to yourself in those times is, God has called me to minister to these people, this group of people where I am. And so I'm going to do that. But it winds up being a job that you walk in, you do the job, and it does have extra weight to it because it's ministry. But you're not working outside of the ministry you're called to.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a lot of thoughts all at once.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes back to when you're hiring, I have things I could say about the non-pastoral side. This is I'm kind of learning as I go. But I think what you're looking for, you do want someone who fits the culture, who fits the identity of who we are, but stretches us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what you were saying earlier, Corey, is a perfect idea. Like with missions, you want someone who is going to be different than us and is going to bring ideas to expound who we are, who will challenge us spiritually, who will challenge our people spiritually, who will bring new ideas. But if it's someone who doesn't automatically think partnership missions is where you begin,
Mm-hmm.
well, then that's an identity
Right.
Yeah.
that
Right.
doesn't work
Yeah.
just automatically. So you could be completely competent. You could be a mission-minded person. You could have all kinds of experience. But if you don't adhere to that
Identity.
that identity, then it's not going to work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
very
same
much.
thing like in the worship area. So that's in my world and with the people I run with. So many churches have an identity crisis with worship language when it comes to music. I am so grateful that I don't think that's us. Even I got an email from a pastor asking for some feedback as they were trying to hire someone in the worship staff. And he even said in it, we are still tired from these wars about worship music.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, man, you got to fix that before you worry about the hire. You're going to have to, or
Well,
you're going to, Go ahead.
To me, that's a sad state too. There
is.
never needed to be a war there. Like
Yeah.
yeah, well, and that's a whole nother
that's a whole
conversation.
nother. It is, but anyway.
But it comes back to what's happening at the root of it in that
Yes.
church is an identity crisis
Correct.
in the worship language. So they've got to establish what that identity is, and then you can move forward.
Correct.
So I think
and I
you
think
come to the identity
And all of that sums up is leadership.
is leadership exactly. And a lot of places are
Starved.
really starved for good leadership. I mean, and that's not just the top dog pastor.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great ministers that are not good leaders.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
there's a lot of there.
One of the things that I would just point out too, like we talk about culture. That was not originally. So if I go back to, when we hired Austin, like we were still developing what that culture was and even our identity of what that was. And so that has been something we have not created a culture. God has brought this culture together. God has orchestrated a culture through our hiring process and as we've walked through that. And I think all of that has been, as God started putting together. I mean, I think it goes back to what you said, Tiger. I don't think we could have never orchestrated this.
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't have done this on our own or purposefully done this. God in the process in his sovereignty has saw fit throughout the midst of this to bring about all of us. And I mean, Corey didn't have the privilege of hiring me. he just inherited me.
Let's also chase the bunny rabbit that in a different world with two different decisions, you and I could have been on staff
We
at
could
a
have.
completely different church together.
That is very
We were
true,
both
yeah.
interviewing at a different church.
Yep.
Like 8 years ago or whatever it was at the
very,
same
very
time.
close to be in the same location in a different place.
That's crazy.
But I think that's the beauty of what we speak to. And I think when you talk about our people and even us being very protective of that, it is because not that we have created it, is because we have seen God do this. We've seen what God has done, and we do want to be protective of what God has brought together. And so I think that is a big factor of it. And I think you talk even about, it's unique for the staff to all be involved in certain processes, but I think it speaks even to our culture, our identity, as a staff that, we talk about this missions position. We have all talked about, we are all very passionate about missions. We want to be involved in missions. We don't want this person to take over. And it means that I don't have a hand in the missions of the life of our church. And so that in of itself makes it important to us, and our voice and our ability to speak into the hiring process of that is an important aspect. I would also point back to this. In the midst of all of this, one of the things that I think is somewhat unique, if you talk about things that you've not seen necessarily, just even our process of coming to the point of saying we need to hire this position is unique, I think. Because it's not of, well, we have the normal position, so to speak,
Right.
the pastor position, the worship position, the student minister position, the kids position, whatever the case is. So like, those aren't things that just come about in 2 or 3 weeks. Oh, you know what? We need to hire a worship pastor. Obviously, sure. But like even going to discipleship pastor, like there was a significant amount of talk. Are we hiring a executive pastor? Are we hiring a discipleship pastor? What are we hiring in this process? What does our church need in the life of our church where we currently are? What is the greatest need that continues to take us to the next step? So then you hire that. What is it? What's after that? It's not that, and those are conversations that are happening for sometimes a year or two that we're discussing.
Missions, it's probably been a year and a half, 2 years. I mean, like if we get to the end of the year, we're definitely at 2 years that we're praying through, thinking through what is that move.
Yeah. And that's to me, that is very unique.
It is.
Yeah.
I come
not
back
just
to, I
putting
remember
straight in.
we were talking at one point about executive pastor, that we were at a size and a stuff where that would be like that would be a thought. But Corey was like, I would never give up
I can't.
that part. I can't give up control. So what's the point of hiring someone for a job that I'm still going to be doing?
And even for me, and I know I have control issues, so I'm trying to work through some of that. But
On record.
yeah, I know. I've said it before.
Flag the tape. Flag the tape.
It's even more so than that, is that I think our culture is,
Yeah.
I think that position could dictate culture so much that I cannot imagine hiring that from the outside cold, and them not knowing me or me not knowing
it's a recipe
them
for disaster.
or any of it. Right. I think it is. And so like, I do think that we will need that somewhere along the way. I do not think it will come from the outside. And I don't know what that looks like. So y'all start praying with us now that we can figure that out when we need to, because I don't know exactly what that looks like. But I think that because culture is so much, and that position really kind of inside the staff, whole staff, it really can affect that real quickly. I've seen it be disastrous.
I've experienced it.
Yeah, it's been disastrous. And so I can't imagine doing
And I would say even that thought process of what both of y'all just laid out speaks to, again, identity and understanding who we are and what God's doing and being sensitive to that. Because there are lots of churches, and I've experienced this, you get to X hundred people, okay, this is the time to hire an executive pastor. And you just hire an executive pastor because you think that's the thing that you need to do. Right. And you've not created a felt need. There's not a need to feel. You just, hey, this is what we're supposed to do when we get to this size. And it just goes sideways sometimes. It doesn't have to, but sometimes I think that when the tail wags the dog, it creates issues inside the life of the church. And so, I just think as we probably are going to bring this to a close here and talking about it, I think that one of the unique things that God has done here, and I think you mentioned it, is that we are not siloed in our own things. Yeah. All of us are unique in how we were created and what God gave us. But I feel like I'm a large part of worship ministry. You even come in and we talk about stuff occasionally, and that excites me to no end. I've sung all my life. I'm married to a musician, so it feels natural for me to be able to come alongside you when you need it and speak into that. And I was a student in children for 12 years, first 12 years of my ministry. So that's never left me. Yeah. It's just God's had other things for me to do. And so I appreciate it. I love going back in and teaching those kids and stuff occasionally. And the fact that we all embrace that, I think is, again, it's all God. I mean, it's a special thing.
And someone else is going to have to embrace that. Again, let's take this missions position. They are not going to be able to come in and think that they are, over everything and they dictate everything and with missions, and that's all they do. Yeah. They're going to be expected to be a part of the other area. They're going to be expected to help help our youth, our students understand what missions look like, help our families understand how we live on mission. And we cannot just be over an area. Right. Like we are not siloed, and we are not going to be none of us. And to me, that's the fun. That we get to be a part of everything going on inside the life of the church. So you want to find somebody else that's going to be fun for, not laborious or burdensome. Yeah.
Well, stay tuned.
Yeah. Be praying for our mission search.
Yeah. Hopefully we can update you on that in the next weeks or months or so, and we'll trust God in that process. But I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. I hope it's given you a little bit of an insight into how we approach this, how we think through this, and how God has really created what he has created, especially here at Seymour First Baptist Church. And hopefully you found something of benefit there. So thanks for listening. As always, reach out if you have some ideas or some comments about anything you've heard here. We appreciate you. Everybody say bye, fellas.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Seymour from the Front Pew. Our sole desire for this podcast is to glorify God by educating and encouraging his body. If you would like to learn more about anything you've heard today, feel free to reach out by email at staff@seymourfbc.org or by visiting our website at seymourfbc.org. If you're located near our community and do not have a church home, come worship with us at 10:15 a.m. on Sunday morning. Until then, we pray God's richest blessings on you and yours as you love God, love others, make disciples, and live the life.